In this movie, we're going to talk about approaches and programs that will help individuals to live in market housing effectively. So this can be apartments or basement suites or backyard garden cottages and so forth. I have to start by saying that within the Mission area, I think we are still lacking in terms of official programs that will help individuals to move out of second stage housing, which means staffed housing, supported housing, into a market housing arrangement. And we also, I think, really need people who are in the business of helping those individuals make that transition and playing the role of connector or liaison with landlords. But there are things we can do, there are programs we can take advantage of, and informal approaches that we can take. So Women's Resource Society of the Fraser Valley and Mission Community Services Society are two of the agencies that help individuals with mental health and psychosocial needs to get back on their feet and establish stable housing using a second stage housing approach. In other words, the person lives semi-independently and has a gradually fading amount of support from staff people. Ultimately, the intent is for the person to move into their own home in the community in a market housing arrangement. As we said, the amount of officially funded and sanctioned support through that transition process is limited. But there are, through these programs, people who are teaching that individual how to be effective as self-advocates and other skills for managing any kind of conflict with neighbors or resolving issues through the help of their landlord, ensuring that the person keeps their home well maintained and clean and their rent is paid, and so forth. And if there are issues with a landlord, these are the agencies, if the person has come from their agency, these are the agencies that are most likely to be able to provide some insight, provide some ability of remedy for both the consumer and the landlord. The single most important thing we hear from landlords often when they're asked to provide rental accommodations to somebody with special needs is not that they're worried about the person's behavior, in as much as they're worried that the individual will cause them to lose other tenants. And they're happy that the individual is going to provide them with a stable income because the rent of a person on income assistance is sent directly by the government to the landlord. But the landlord frequently articulates that they want to have a connection to somebody who can help if there's a conflict or help to clarify issues and so forth. And so this is where agencies that provide second stage housing can provide some extra value just by being a contact person to that landlord. Some of our local agencies actually provide supportive housing. In our last slides, we talked about First Nations housing through Stolo and Fraser Health. So we're going to go on to talk about others here. Haven in the Hollow is a first stage facility, which means that it is essentially, on the outside anyways, looks like a homeless shelter. But people are actually able to go in there for more than just one night, more than just a bed and a warm meal. The idea behind a first stage facility is that a person can stay there, in this particular case, for an extended period of time of up to 1 year. And over that period of time, gradually establish relationship with the staff people, and as that happens, become exposed to or referred to other services. So within Haven in the Hollow, for example, the staff people are not only helping that individual to have a safe, secure, and warm place to spend an evening or to get a meal, but they're also helping people to get income assistance, to find market housing, to get clothing, to put together a resume, to get signed up for medical care or for income assistance or other programs for which they may be able to qualify, or help the person get medical treatment or treatment around drug and alcohol recovery. Rivendell is the second stage facility, also operated by Mission Community Services Society, and it is the next step for people who, when they leave Haven, need more than just an apartment or just to be put back on their feet in terms of a job. These are people who will likely need more ongoing care, and they can stay at Rivendell for upwards of 2 years. And from Rivendell, the idea is then that the individual would transition into market housing, or if necessary, if the person needed ongoing extended care or intermediate care, then that would be an appropriate referral. Mission Association for Community Living, or MACL, provides housing for people with developmental challenges, many of whom may have other needs such as physical disabilities or mental health needs. And they do that with a variety of approaches, including home share as well as having staffed group homes. Mission Association for Seniors Housing, or MASH, also provides a variety of options for people in the seniors category who may need to have assistance around the affordability of their housing, but also want to live in a circumstance where they're close to care and close to community. So, for example, they operate the Cedars, which is right north of the hospital on Hurd Street, and is a very popular amenity because it is very close to doctors' offices and shopping, but is a seniors community in a newer building. Welton Towers is run by, I believe it's called the Mission and District Society for Seniors Housing, and they are located, Welton Towers is, I believe, 8 stories tall, right downtown Mission, close to the library, close to the buses, close to shopping and banking, and again provides a low-cost option for seniors and people who have to find affordable housing in Mission. So there are a number of different options for people who are in need of social or affordable housing. Community kitchens. We spoke a little earlier about the idea that Mission Friendship Center runs a community kitchen. So does the Women's Resource Society of the Fraser Valley, and they have the innovative name for theirs of Mission's Kitchens. If you're not familiar with what a community kitchen is, I'll take a moment to explain it to you. Essentially what happens is that a group of people, normally folks who are on social assistance and have low incomes, would get together, usually weekly, at a large kitchen, something like a church kitchen or the Salvation Army or the Legion, depending on the particular community. And each person is going to bring with them a set of storage containers, Tupperware sort of containers, and they will pay a nominal amount to contribute to a pooling of groceries. What happens in these gatherings is that the group gets together and cooks a number of meals. One of the meals is consumed together at that time as normal practice, and so it's a very good social interaction for people. They meet with each other and find out how others are doing. There are some people who are staff and volunteers, many consumers, and so people are able to monitor and support each other, as well as provide nutritionally complete meals at low cost. The rest of the meals that are prepared are packaged up into the Tupperware containers, and the person takes them home, freezes them, and eats one per night so that they are assured of at least one healthy meal every day, and that's a way of helping to maintain that person's physical health. So community kitchens are a way to help people, even if they live in market housing, to have an ongoing connection to others in the community and to make sure that their physiological health needs are addressed. In Mission, at this time, we do not have a formal landlord liaison. However, you as an informal supporter can always volunteer to help an individual find a home or to be a contact person for that individual if there are issues within their accommodation. So the landlord can call you and say, I haven't been paid by so-and-so, or I had a complaint of noise and I'm wondering if you can speak to the individual because you have a relationship with him or her. And this is a very effective approach, both in terms of helping landlords to feel comfortable in renting out their accommodations, as well as in mitigating issues before they become crisis and having a housing arrangement last in the long term. One thing that is not addressed here and is somewhat similar to the community kitchen is the food bank. Now, the food bank, in my opinion, is not quite as effective at helping people to ensure they get healthy food and remain socially connected, partly because people generally visit their food bank less frequently and because the food they are receiving may not be able to sustain them quite as effectively. However, a food bank is a way for us to maintain a connection to people. It might be the first interaction they have with somebody from a social services agency, but it can lead to them having more access, or accessing, I should say, more services later on once those initial relationships are offered. Here in Mission, the food bank is offered by Mission Community Services Society, and it's located in the same place as Haven in the Hollow. And that's not just done as a way to save money, but it also is a way of, again, having people be able to come in and access more than one service at a time. And this idea of clustering services is becoming more and more popular because it makes services more accessible and allows people to gradually build a comfort level in increasing the amount of supports that they get. Do you know of any approaches in your community that help with people to help people with housing, especially if you have things that are innovative in your community. We'd love to know more. Take a moment and on the blog write down what you know about additional supports for people who are renting market housing in Mission or wherever you live.